Now, Oliver, crypto, blockchain is possibly the most exciting thing happening of our time. And it's happening right here in Zug. Why Zug? Why is Crypto Valley in Zug?
No, I think we are in the middle of a big change here in the canton of Zug, because everything started with the establishment of the Ethereum Foundation. Ethereum is one of the leading blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies. They set up the foundation and the starting point in 2014. With that starting point, a lot of startups, service industry like legal expertise, tax accounting built up, and then also the local government built knowledge, accepting Bitcoin from a city of Zug perspective, taxation. So that was the starting point to have a lot of capabilities needed to start your business.
And how come the canton of Zug, the government here, is so open-minded?
No, I think they realized that this is a game changer. It's not only a technology, it changed business models. The government, the public services will be also integrated in new services they have to open up. So it's not only accepting Bitcoin, they're moving the company registration on the blockchain. They accept Ether and Bitcoin if you start a business as a capital. So I think building up that learning curve helps a lot to figure out, what are the barriers, what are the challenges, what are the opportunities. No? That's something that is all the players in the new ecosystem have to go through that learning curve.
And Zug really is a first mover in this space.
Yeah.
Now, Crypto Valley, this term Crypto Valley, is world famous, and you can't help but think of Silicon Valley when you think of Crypto Valley. So how did this name come about?
No, that was part of a meetup, informal meetup of people coming together, and they had the idea to establish the name, and then we've been asked 18 months ago to have an association to bring the different players from startups, investors, government, corporation, university are indeed together and continue the movement. And we are now, as a non-for-profit organization, because we are at the end connectors, bringing people together, try to overcome challenges. We are 800 members, and out of the 800, around about 300 are outside Switzerland.
That's fantastic.
It's a global movement. So you're right, it's a global brand that attracts business. Sustainable business is important to bring this into Switzerland, because we are not only limited to Zug and Zurich. We have now regional chapters in western part of Switzerland and in Lugano from a
And how important is the Switzerland-US relationship when it comes to innovation? Do you link Silicon Valley with Crypto Valley?
Yeah, we position this as a global movement. So we have relationships to different parts in the US. We go to conferences over there. We team up with startups and investors there. A lot of delegations are coming in from different nations or investor tours.
So a lot of hosting?
Yeah, we have, it's hard to believe. We have per day around about 15 to 20 requests for meetings, help, advice, etc. So
they really are seeing you, the international community, as the god of crypto.
It's an established hub, I would say. That was also the clear intention to build the association through social media, to content out of our working group, to steer the discussion and mobilize people in our communities, bring them to events. We have 5,000 visitors every day on our website. So you can see with the right strategy, you can mobilize in a world of connecting people. You can do a lot.
But this is more than just noise and connecting people. More. This is serious. How close is the working relationship, both for you as an individual and as the president of the Crypto Valley Association, with the government?
No, I think we organize ourselves in a very decentralized space. So the crypto world in general, blockchain world, is decentralized, which is really in line with the value of Switzerland. Help yourself, decentralized. So we have specialized working group, like one of our biggest is regulation and policy. We already last year issued the way how cryptocurrencies should be classified and legally or from a regulatory point of view treated from a knowing your clients, money laundering perspective. And so we shared those practices, our ICO code of conduct, how we see best practices in behaving from initial coin offerings. We share this with the regulators. We did a lot of events with FINMA. They are based on our input and they have issued a token framework, how these currencies should be classified. And we had First time that the regulator spent with 500 people in 3 location hours in explaining Q&A networking.
And that's just the beginning, because then that has to spiral on to other governments around the world.
And that's exactly, we get calls from UK government, Hong Kong, Singapore, explaining what we think the whole business will evolve over time, because these are, as I said before, game changer from a national central bank perspective. No? So how a currency should be handled, how a technology should be accepted. Are these?
Is it as complex as it feels? Is it really as much of a hurdle as people say?
No, I think it's similar. Like, we've been through the internet 20 years ago. So at the beginning, was just a nice front end, web front end, and then over time, new business model, market structure emerged. The same thing we see here too. That we are moving away from a very internet centralizing everything into more collaborative, open platforms. So I agree with you. We are going through a learning curve. It's not a sprint. It will take multiple years, like in the internet was 10 years.
You've already been in this for 4 years, though, haven't you? And with a history in international banking corporations, very large roles that you've held there. Now, tell me about your current position and how you really advise banks and startups, and what some of the new business models are that are out there.
I started my blockchain experience already in 2014 as an entrepreneur approached us that time at UBS and said, we can do FX trading and settlement in real time. And that raised a lot of questions, eyebrows up. And we realized that blockchain is simplifying the business that goes through a lot of middlemen, that it takes multiple days to simplify the whole structure. And that's the kickoff also after I left UBS in my role as a group CIO is looking at helping technology companies and banks how this technology can be used. And I think the discussion has changed the last 12 months into it's not only digitalizing what you have, it's now open new growth opportunities. So there's a study out there from McKinsey saying that the technology itself enables new ecosystems. That means you bundle services that usually are isolated.
Give us an example.
Example is the real estate business. It's a hot topic across all European banks, and saying they have a lot of real estate mortgage business, and they are now moving into an ecosystem strategy and saying, what else can I offer to my clients to simplify the whole business relationship? So if you buy a house, set up a mortgage with a bank, then the next steps is title registration, setting up a new utility contract, phone switching, insurance. So there are a lot of dependency that you as a buyer have to go through. There's a sequence, it takes 100 days. And those kind of discussion is the blockchain thing.
Streamlining everything.
Yeah, streamline. At the end, it digitalizes services that today are isolated. You can bundle that, but you can bundle this that it's a value for the consumer or the institutional client, and also growth opportunities for banks or other industries that see a value creation. There are now also other banks, like there's a famous announcement the last few days about Royal Bank of Canada moving into this ecosystem strategy, saying their core business is under pressure. And they're moving out and saying, what else can I bring to the table? And that requires collaboration.
Admitting the problem is the first.
First, yes, absolutely. That's the first thing. The second thing is also understanding that the technology enables also working with non-banks, as I said, utility, phone, registration, to bring those services together that for you as a consumer is very hard to get today.
And 360, it's fantastic for everyone if it can be as neat and tidy as you say. Now, when you speak of ecosystems, it's as little as, 7 years away. You said it's estimated at $50 trillion this market. Yeah,
50 trillion more. There's a study from McKinsey that I highly recommend, saying that 12 new ecosystems will come up.
Give me another one. Give me a cooler one.
Cooler one is mobility. Okay. It's a public one. Is that the mobility is moving away, that you own a car and you enjoy a service like it's an Uber, but the Uber service is not anymore limited to car.
Not enough.
Will be with train, with flights, whatever you need. If you travel from Zurich to Hamburg, today you have multiple steps to book your trip. I think the idea is bringing different partners together, product suppliers, and book this as one trip. Even bring insurance company to the table that also, if there's a delay of one of these service providers, that you can rebook in an automatic fashion. Because for these car manufacturers, the biggest threat is that they get aggregated on the consumer side.
What do you mean by that?
Google or somebody else already in a position. If you do Google Maps, you can already plan a certain parts of the trip using train or public transportation. Which is missing is then combined with flight, with Uber, etc. You could build those contracts, one contract that you need to travel from Zurich to Hamburg. That's possible. So then Mercedes or other providers will become just a hardware provider.